Without further ado, we are going to jump into our first speaker, which I am so very excited that she is here joining us today. And I can't wait for her to share her beautiful insight with us all together. Now, I want to introduce her here. Her name is Marlene Watson-Tara. She's a vegan health counselor, an educator, and author. With over 40 years in the health industry as an activist and vegan, her mission is to encourage people worldwide to switch to whole foods plant nutrition lifestyle. As a lover of nature and animals and a huge passion for human ecology, together with her husband Bill, they have formed the Human Ecology Project, and her latest book, Go Vegan, is now available worldwide. As I mentioned, she's joining in all the way from the UK today, and we are so grateful to have her here. Please welcome Marlene Watson-Tara. Hi, Marlene.
Can you hear me now? Oh dear. What's happened here? Hello, hello. I've gone on mute.
Hi, Marlene.
Oh, can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. Please take it away.
I lost you. I thought you had enough of me before I even started.
No worries. We can hear you now. Take it
fantastic.
away.
Fantastic. So thank you, Rachel, and thank you to the International Yoga Festival and Health Expo for putting on again another fantastic educational program that everybody around the world can join for free. And I hope what I have to say today is helpful to everybody, and you pick up some great points and become passionate activists and join us in service for a healthy world. So I would like to share my my screen, my PowerPoint. Let's see. Where has my screen PowerPoint gone? Oh dear. Do you have screen share on for me? There you go. Okay. Can you see my slides, Rachel?
Yes, we can. Thank you, Marlene.
Fantastic.
It looks beautiful.
Okay. Great. So I'm just going to start, if that's all right. And go vegan, it's easy. That's my message for the world. So health, animals and nature have been at the heart of everything basically that I've taught for the last 40 years. And the world is changing, and the world is changing fast. And having a strong foundation when these winds of change come is of paramount importance. So, you know, there's something about veganism that some people do not find easy, but the difficulty is not inherent in veganism, but in our culture. And so many people live in their head and they overthink the concept. Many people think, how do I start? Where do I begin? And it's so simple. You take any animal foods that you're using, take them off to the side, and you start to incorporate more whole grain and beans and pulses and fruits and vegetables. That is basically it. And you know, we can all do it right now. And if I could, I would come and stir the pot for every one of you. That's how passionate I am about trying to bring everybody on board to make this happen. It's really important. So why go vegan? Well, there are so many reasons, of course. My message for the world is that animals are here, you know, they're here with us to share the planet. They're not here for us to use. And common sense tells us all that if we refuse to pay for animal products, we would stop the demand. Sales would plummet. And if you think about it, the industrial food system have reduced food that people are eating down to just something that can be produced in a lab. It doesn't even resemble food anymore. And 75% of the destruction of soil, water, and biodiversity are coming from industrial agriculture. And this is contributing, as much as I'm sure many of you know, up to 70% of the greenhouse gases that are driving climate change. Now, my husband, Bill Tara's coming on later, and he's going to be covering all this in great depth. Chemical agriculture also doesn't return organic matter and fertility to the soil, because it demands a lot more water, because it's destroying the soil's natural water holding capacity. So we could actually feed the whole world with the grain that we're feeding to livestock. I mean, if we just think about that. And if you're feeling the same connection as I do, which I hope you do, that we're all connected, there's about 1 billion people starving every day in the world. And at the other end of the spectrum, we have about 1 billion people eating themselves to death. The craziness has to stop. We have to try and bring this balance back into some form of sensibility, you know. So if we're eating food as grown, as nature intended, that's where we get robust health and passion for. You know, another thing, Bill and I see a lot of people suffering with depression and mental health issues. And when they start to come to our workshops and classes and they change their diet, they say, Marlene, I feel like someone's just lifted a veil off my head, off my face. I can see clearly, you know, their energy changes. You see the light coming back into their eyes. It's just such an incredible gift. So, you know, for me, that's why I'm so passionate about sharing that there's nothing new. You know, a vegan approach to living is centuries old, since the times of thinking back to some greats like Pythagoras and Leo Tolstoy and George Bernard Shaw and Isaac Bashevis Singer, to name just a few. But, you know, you don't need to be a Nobel Prize winner to help people adopt and understand the importance of living a vegan life. So, you know, for me, there's so many messages that I love to share, one of them being ahimsa. I have been a long-time yoga teacher. I was really in the 70s, the crazy Jane Fonda of Scotland, teaching aerobics before anyone even really knew what aerobics was. So, you know, passion for fitness and health has been through my whole life, really. But ahimsa, as we all know, it's a religious philosophy that believes that all life, including animals, which are sentient, is sacred. So, you know, it's a key virtue in the dharmic religions of Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism. And as a yoga teacher of many decades, it's my passion, and I feel responsibility to be able to explain what ahimsa is, and that I live through these principles by not harming another living being. So, you know, the principle of non-violence toward all living creatures is fundamental. I'm very blessed, really hugely blessed in my life, that I have the most incredible friends, incredible colleagues who have spent their life dedicated to making the world a better place for humans and non-humans. Many of these people, I'm sure you must know, Professor Colin Campbell. I won't go through them all, or I'll be here for the whole day, but, you know, collectively here we have top epidemiologists, medical doctors, surgeons, doctors, my beloved husband, psychologists, oceanographers, professors of law, professors of animal and human rights. I mean, these are I can call these people my friends. They talk the truth. They have dedicated their life. So I just want you to know that, you know, we're not lone rangers. We work with anybody that has the same spirit, the same soul, that wants to just keep pushing this message out. But one very special person I do have to mention, and that's my 95-year-old vegan mama, who is a Scottish warrior and tells me all the time to never give up, you know. And you know, she became vegan very late in life. You know, she didn't eat so much animal food, but she would eat fish sometimes. And then one day she said, you know, I don't even need this. I'm really a vegan. So hence why my latest book was called Go Vegan. And that was for you, Mum. And she's coming next month. She's flying down from Scotland to visit Bill and I. She's incredible, walks everywhere, doesn't take any medication, you know. I mean, so that's what I would like to see, the whole world being happy and healthy at that age. So I want to ask you all to try and think about this evening or today. What is your motivation? You know, and there's many different motivations for different people, and it could be their health or the animals or the environment. So if it's your health, you know, we see every day so much disease, also unnecessary, so much suffering, also unnecessary. And for me, our message is always that health is everything, and without health, everything is nothing. What do you have if you don't have your health, you know? So if that's what's important for you, that's fantastic. If your motivation, like me, is the animals, billions of beautiful sentient animals slaughtered every year. And, you know, if you don't know this, humans are actually outnumbered by farm animals at any given time on this planet 3 times, threefold. It's incredible. So perhaps your motivation is the environment. You know, we care about future generations, children growing up. What are we leaving them when I look outside the window, you know? So if you're passionate about the environment, it's time to take action. We must all join together, because it's important to know all the living organisms, they exist as interconnected parts. They're not separate, you know. We're all together in this web that we call life. So nothing is superfluous, no element, from the tiniest microbe to the biggest giant animal. We're all here together. Now, you know, it's always important, I like to share with people, who are we? Who is this person, Marlene? What's she doing, what she's doing? You know, and we all have a passion for whatever's made us waking up in the world and life. And for me, when I was very young, I came across this man, Dennis Burkett, an incredible human. He was a surgeon that studied in Edinburgh, and he went to do great work in Uganda and actually discovered why there was no cancer there, and it was all about fibre. So ever since then, you know, I teach the whole world about fibre, and you know, most people's diet lacks so much fibre. And if you remember back to what I said in the beginning, we're feeding our gut, you know. So that is one of the most important messages that I can share with everybody. Fibre, 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 long health, longevity, honestly. So we're all walking history books, and we all think about, well, you know, why are we doing what we do? So when you find your passion, as I did at a very young age, you can't stop talking about it, you know, and it's just so fantastic. So how do we create harmony with our environment? You know, part of what Bill and I teach, and I think Bill will touch on this a lot more, we've got to create harmony with our ecosystem. If you imagine that you're a tree and you're receiving beautiful nutrients through this healthy soil, balanced nourishment, your root system is external, you're going to thrive, you're going to flower with fruit or whatever, beautiful flowers. Well, if you think about a human body, the small intestine is the opposite. It's internal. The root system on the human body is internal, and it's in the small intestine. And these villi, they take all the nourishment from the nutrients of what you're eating, the soil, from the soil, and that's what they create our microbiome from. So if we kill the soil outside, we're killing the soil inside our gut. It's that simple. So I love to try and get everybody to understand in a very Walt Disney fashion, really, that the ecological crisis that we have outside is caused by eating a toxic diet. So we're creating this huge imbalance with personal health and our relationship to nature. And nature rules. Nature can quite happily do without us humans, you know. That's obvious. We're killing nature, but you know, we're all going to have to just keep waking up every day and thinking about even cultural philosophy, thinking about civilization and how it refers to one that obtains material and spiritual, you know, harmonious development. We must live in harmony. Think about humankind as nature and society, mankind and mankind and society. So to coexist in harmony with all is how we create health for our ecosystem. That's where we get this healthy ecosystem. We're all connected, animal, plant, human, nothing is separate. Now, I'm sure those of you that are vegan probably get fed up answering this question. Oh, where do you get your protein? It's the number one question we hear all the time, year after year. Well, we all know protein is a macronutrient, right? It's essential for building muscle mass, and people think only of it as eating animals, that's where you get protein, but it's in everything that grows. And chemically, if you're interested, protein is comprised of amino acids, which are basically oxygen compounds of carbon, hydrogen, and nitrogen. And most people couldn't even really tell you what protein is if you asked them. If I said to them, could you tell me what the amino acids are? You know, they wouldn't know an amino acid if it came up and said, hi, I am an amino acid. So what we like to do is we like to empower everyone with knowledge, because knowledge is power. So the more you know, the more you can help and teach others. And, you know, a few years, Bill and I, we lived in Galway. It was very beautiful, and we ran some programs and courses there with Galway Rural Development. And along came quite a few farmers to our workshops, which was a very interesting concept. And lo and behold, you know, they all had different diseases, but they all went vegan. And consequently, I saved all these beautiful pigs. Now, I just wanted to tell you a wee story about pigs if you're not aware. They are the most incredible animals, you know. They snuggle close to one another. They prefer to sleep nose to nose. They love natural surroundings. They play just like puppies and kittens, and they communicate constantly. But the most beautiful thing that I want you to know about pigs is they actually sing to their young when they're nursing, right? I mean, it was such an incredible experience for me to even see this. But the other thing about pigs is there's so many myths, you know, people say you eat like a pig or you make a mess. Pigs are so clean, I can't tell you, you know, and they're very particular about chewing and savouring their food. So we humans could learn much from these creatures, because let me tell you, humans bite and swallow. They do not chew. They forget they have 32 molars for chewing and they don't use them. And we do not have stomach in the teeth. So there's a good tip for you for digestion. Now, when we eat food is growing, changing diets for people rarely comes along the path of least resistance. Trust me, we've been doing health counselling for 40 years. Oh, I can't do that, it's too difficult, or this or that. So we always say, go back to your motivation. Why are you doing this? What's your motivation? Because when you stick to your motivation, it's second nature, it's not difficult. But I made up a little mantra, and no matter where we are in the world, I have everybody singing it, and it's very easy to remember. So if you remember one thing about today, please remember my little mantra about how food makes the blood, and that's who we become. But, you know, there's so many exciting choices in veganism, and you know, one thing is just people become so stressed about trying to make the change, and I wish I could go to every kitchen in the house. Trust me, that's my mission. So watch out, I could be in your kitchen next. That's what I want to do. It's so simple. People complicate it, and it's not complicated. Trust me. So let's take a wee look at what's happening in the athletic world. Oh my goodness, all over the world, you know, all these lists of vegan athletes are growing because they know they're at the top of their game since they've changed their diet. Because if you think about it, when they need to get stronger and faster without the artery clogging foods of eating saturated fats from animals, their health improves. Any pain or injury exacerbates and heals very quickly. The recovery is unbelievable. And studies show, hundreds of studies show, that plant-based diets are very anti-inflammatory. So very low in saturated fats. So it helps to improve the blood thickness, the viscosity, if you will, and that helps more oxygen reach the muscles. And then when you have more oxygen in the muscles, you become faster. So your athletic performance improves. So, you know, it's a win-win situation for athletes as well. I want to talk just a little bit about what's happening with industrial food systems and how they've destroyed the biodiversity of the planet, both through the spread of monocultures, which is just growing the one thing all the time, and through the use of poisons, which we know are killing the birds and the bees and the butterflies and the insects. But on the other hand, biodiversity, the intensive and poison-free agriculture, it produces more nutrient per acre while rejuvenating our planet. So that's what we're wanting to spread. You know, if I could be out there growing vegetables every day, I would be, but we're not in that situation right now where we are. But the thing is, I have so much good news about going vegan. 17 times more food per acre you can grow with plants. Vegetables store well. Whole grains and beans store for years. Vegans are so, amazing at saving water. we save something like 1,100 gallons of water a day. Being vegan cuts your carbon footprint in half. I mean, you know, the good news about going vegan is endless. You know, if you asked me to make a list, I would be on here for the whole of the seminar. Here I am in our garden. When we lived in Portugal for many years, Bill and I teaching there at the Institute. And, you know, it's such a joy to see what you can just grow from dry sand, soil, whatever. I mean, nature never fails to amaze you. But in the process, you know, you can improve your soil fertility and your crop productivity. Now, I have always used a veganic gardening method, veganic meaning using no animal manure. We don't need it. So, you know, growing vegetables in an ecological way using green manures, crop rotation, mulching, and other sustainable things. But it's interesting to know that industrial agriculture uses a whopping 75% of our land mass, right? All the fossil fuels, the intensive chemicals, the intensive monocultures only produce 30% of the food that's eaten. Meanwhile, small biodiverse farms, people that are growing small farms, growing vegetables, they're only using 25% of the land, but they're providing 70% of the food. So, I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? And if we keep going along the route of the industrial agriculture, we'll have a dead planet and one with no life and no food. Now, I think Bill's going to get into this a lot more about biodiversity, so I'll move on from that. As I said there, we don't have a facility right now where we are teaching to grow, so I have my sprouter out every day. I sprout mung beans and lentils and chickpeas and aduki beans, and it's pennies, you know, it doesn't cost a fraction of what it costs to go and buy these sprouts from, you know, supermarkets or whatever. But it's always good to have some raw, fresh sprouts. And if you think about rotating the tiers of the sprouter, you know, mine are always jam-packed. They make great snacks as well, but I have them in salads and sandwiches and wraps. And remember thinking about a sprout, it's just the beginning growth of a seed. So it's really not that much different when you start to see the green specks popping up through the earth in the springtime. When you keep the seeds moist and these rotated sprouters, they reward you with unbelievable nourishing sprouts that are loaded with enzyme, chlorophyll, great for your liver. So, you know, get on board and start making your own sprouts. It's so easy. Now, this is our human ecology pyramid. So this is how we live, and you can find a copy of that on our websites. You can download a copy of what to eat from our websites as well, and it gives you an overview. The dietary recommendations that Bill and I use are from our teachings of macrobiotics, and if that's not familiar to you, it's just two words, macro and bios, macro meaning big, large, bios, life. So it's living your life to your full potential, living the big life, the large life. And our work's based on the principles of Oriental philosophy from traditional Chinese medicine system, the 5 transformations of energy. And it's the only thing that's ever made sense to me in my whole life, apart from what my husband says, you know. This is very true, because if you think about it, we balance our life with our environment, you know. So a simple vegan plant-based diet balanced to your environment, where we eat from, where we live from our environment, brings great health. It's just so fantastic. So something to think about. And, you know, my suggestion is this: if you begin incorporating more whole grain, more beans, legumes, nuts, seeds and things into your diet, start cooking some very easy vegan recipes that appeal to you. I always say to clients, what's your favorite food? Mexican, Italian, Japanese, Thai, whatever. And I teach them how to veganize it. So, you know, you just take the meat and the dairy out. It's not complicated. So that's something to think about. And when we plan ahead, we're always ready to succeed in simplifying our meals and just keeping things to a minimum. You know, Bill and I share success stories all the time with our new clients. And, you know, when we get them excited, we know they're going to do it. If it's not fun, they won't do it. I mean, if it becomes a chore, it shouldn't be a chore. You should jump out of bed every day with vitality, knowing that what you're doing is not only for yourself, but for the world. And I mean, we say you should have such a big dream that you probably can't fulfill it in this lifetime. So That's something to think about. Now, I don't like to use the word willpower. What is willpower? No, I think we all need to have more skills, so we learn skill power, okay? So you've already got your motivation. Think back to your why. Was it your health, the animals, or the environment? Always keep that in mind. Why are you motivated? Why are you doing what you're doing? And know when there's a will, there's a way. So, you know, plan your meals ahead of time. People always say, I don't have time to cook, but then, you know, maybe they're watching 3 hours of television. I don't know. It just depends where you put your importance. So, but steering your family towards veganism means cooking the same meals for all of you, stocking up on healthy staples. Our kitchen's filled with glass jars of beans and whole grain and all sorts, you know, and batch cooking, you know, using meals 2 or 3 times. If I'm making a big pot of minestrone, it lasts 3 lunches. I don't stand there every day and cook, you know, 7 different dishes. No. I'm very organized. You should go and read my quick meals for busy people on our blog, or there's a video you can watch me doing what I do. Taste bud rehab, I always like to say, because, you know, here's the thing. What we teach is the 5 tastes on our tongue: sweet, sour, salt, bitter, pungent, okay? If you satisfy all these tastes by cooking, and I do, you don't have cravings. If you're having something that's hot and spicy and too much chili, your body wants sugar. If you're having something that's so sweet and dessert-like, your body wants salt. So you've got to be clever and understand that, you know, food is meant to be balanced and not meant to be over sweet or over salty. And there's also another interesting thing called dopamine, and there's a little neurotransmitter in your brain here. And if you keep feeding it salt or sugar or too much of whatever, it keeps wanting it. It's not you. You're not saying, oh, I want a burger or a cheeseburger. It's dopamine. So make dopamine happy. You can go to our website again, download a free ebook called Freedom from Cravings. Now, here's the most easy, simple thing that I have ever taught, okay? People say to me, it's too difficult, I can't do it. Now, okay, I'm not in a journey because my life is my life. I'm very light black. Here I am, this is what I do. But I designed this 4-week program, and it's been hugely successful. So I teach people 4 breakfasts, 1 week, 4 lunches the next week. They're halfway there. 4 mains or entrees, week 3, 2/3 there. Week 4, 4 desserts, done deal. And I tell them to just keep using those recipes and until they feel confident and they're back in their kitchen, and hey presto. I mean, the success has been so fantastic. So that's another way to look at it if that's what you need to do. The other thing is, when you've mastered yourself, you help and teach others how to do this. It's so simple, right? And then you become a lighthouse, and this is Bill and I's life's work too. We now have graduates of our courses in 28 countries who are teaching macrobiotic vegan nutrition. Some of them, you know, have become fantastic private chefs. Some teach cooking classes, some work in natural food stores. Some have even opened vegan restaurants. They're doing great work, you know, and it's very exciting. But, you know, you can share this with friends, families, colleagues. And who knows, maybe you'll even come and teach with Bill and I one day. That would be a great joy, because we need to keep switching on those lighthouses. Too much darkness in the world, we need more light. Something I wanted to share, which is very passionate to Bill and I in our teaching of macrobiotics. One of the founders, or one of the Japanese philosophers that brought macrobiotics from Japan to the US, I want to say that eating a diet, a vegan diet, is not elitist. There's this whole philosophy, you know, okay, I can be training chefs 1 week for royal families, which I do. And the next week, I could be creating recipes that I can live on £1 a day for Action Against Hunger. So it's the same food, but don't tell them I said that, okay? It's just how I present it, how I serve it. This is not an elitist diet, you know. So there's a beautiful parable, 1 grain, 10,000. And what that means is, George Shaw, he used it to express the importance of giving to others. The phrase refers to 1 single grain of rice, when germinated, eventually gives birth to thousands and thousands of grains. And we should follow nature's examples and you know, let that be a guiding principle for how we should live our lives, and follow in the path of nature that gives continuously. Look at what we get every day for free: water, air, food, soil. I mean, nature, the path of nature is just phenomenal. And if anyone gives something valuable to us, we should pay it back 10,000 times, pay it forward. So that's what that means. And it's a very, very lovely parable. So if we didn't feed the grain to the livestock, we would be feeding the world. I said that at the very beginning of my presentation. But one of the top drawer foods that we use in our diet and our teaching is short grain brown rice. It's one of the most nutrient dense foods on the planet. And you can make rice porridge, which we have in the morning. You can make burgers and risottos and, all sorts of delicious, balls of whatever, pumpkin balls with rice and stuff. Now, I can break that down and buy a bag of rice. That works out about 16 pence a portion. How can that possibly be an expensive, elitist way to live? It's crazy. So when I do some soup, these are all recipes from my latest book. When I do soups or whatever salads, people say, oh, I don't have time to cook. Also, I picked this one deliberately to show you. This has red pepper, onion, garlic, spring onions, coconut cream, coriander and chives. It's not even cooking, it's stirring the pot, it's warming the pot, because you can buy everything if you desire, chopped, ready to use. I don't, because of course I'm a chef and I cook and I love chopping vegetables and it's wonderful. But if that's your deal, go for it, do it, buy everything ready, you're just putting it in. You're not then taking something that's come off a conveyor belt, it's fresh and natural. And some tips here, about making weekly menu plans, and the more you cook, the faster you become. That's how easy it is. Now, these little beauties I make from beans, from aduki beans, and again, they're very, very inexpensive. There's no cooking. Kids love them. I developed these for a little program I called Tasty Tips for Kids. So I give them lots of things that obviously they're not near the oven or cooking in the stove, and they love making the balls and whatever, and they're absolutely delicious. Things like lentils. I mean, they're the oldest cultivated, oh my goodness, sorry, I put it on mute, I don't know why that happened, apologies. They are one of the oldest legumes, and we can make dals and burgers and bolognese and salads and patties. I mean, the list is endless, Almond mung bean burgers, they cost pennies to make. I could wax lyrical about these. These were one of the recipes I used in the pound a day, because I got 36 burgers out of one little pack of mung beans. I soak and reconstitute and soak and reconstitute until they just start to sprout. Incredible. And for dessert, you can keep it simple. You can do something as simple as apple sauce. Cook up batches and keep in glass jars in the refrigerator. The list is just endless. And then, of course, you can have your cake and eat it. Now, we don't eat cakes like this, it's in a special occasion thing, but I'm trying to bring the world to our philosophy and understanding that what we can have from plants and vegan food, you don't need to use any cream, milk, butter, cheese, nothing, So everyday desserts, we enjoy very simple foods, fresh fruits, and food is life. And this is something that, if you think about it, forgive the self-promotion here, but this is obviously my book that I'm trying to change the world with, and it's coming out in Chinese. And Adit is very kindly trying to help me get a publisher in India for it. Thank you for that, sir. Because we've got to keep reaching out to every corner of the world. But our vision, making vegan the new normal, is what makes me jump out of bed in the morning. That is in my heart and soul, my work for decades, and I can't stop until I take my last breath, And if we think about what food is, it's not us, it's the farm, it's nature. It's not the farmers, the nature gives us the soil. If I was to show you 1 teaspoon of soil right now, it would have 1 million microorganisms in that 1 team of soil. It's just incredible. So, last but not least, you got to speak your truth and be an activist, okay? I'm still waiting for, one person saying to me, but why, Marlene? I write to the world every day. I write to the Pope, the Queen, the Prime Ministers, people all over the world, they're human, the same as me. One of them might have a wake-up call one morning and say, we've got to do this, but governments will not change It takes communities to change and bring on more people and make the army stronger, that we're all pushing the rock up the hill together. So never be afraid to speak your truth, to speak from your heart, you know, and don't run blindly with the crowd. Be proud of being different, you know, be proud of being a pioneer, and your advocacy work will change the life of so many people, you know. The world needs all of us. And if I think back to Copernicus, this is something that always makes me smile, you know. Remember, like my 18 members, they have their vision. Like Copernicus knew, he thought it would be impossible to convince everyone about the earth and the sun, but he did. So going vegan for me is simply a choice that we can make, and we can all do it right now. So I invite every single one of you to join Bill and I in service for a healthy world for humans and non-humans alike. And thank you for your time, and thank you for your passion for being here today.
Wow, Marlene Watson-Tara, thank you so much.
I'm so sorry, I can't believe, I don't know why my phone rang and it was
well, you know, we're all adjusting to this virtual world that we're in right now. And so we have hiccups along the way, but you know, the most amazing thing is we're here and we're together, and hiccups and not. So thank you again so much, Marlene Watson-Tara. And we are going to just... And again, if you would like more from Marlene today, you can definitely check her websites out that she mentioned at macrovegan.org, and also her other website with her partner Bill at the Human Ecology Project.com. And we're going to type that down below in the chat as well. All right, everyone.